Alright, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Battle on the Beach 2022. We have got a very fun card. A very, very fun card. I think it's fun. I will always say that. After what I said last time, I pretty much buried the fucking pay-per-view. Last time I ran down the card. But no, this one's awesome, and you should spend all of your money to watch it. So yeah, we're here for Battle on the Beach 2022. Of course, headlined by the rematch of Frankie-Boy versus Cougar for the Coastal Zone Championship. But we do have 7 other matches with builds of their own. Before I get into that, I do want to note I finally upped the production. I just wanted to make sure that the extra $15,000 a month I am going to spend on music rights would not tank me, or if it did, I would still be somewhat in the positive or barely in the negative, and yeah, it's not going to have a major effect. I just wanted to be sure. Again, the fucking beginning of the 5 SSW save had shell-shocked me in multiple ways, money-wise and injury-wise. I will never be the same. But Battle on the Beach 2022, I will in fact run down the card and run down a quick recap of all the storylines that went down. Opening the show will be the California Dreams getting their revenge on Wasted Potential in a 2v2. California Dreams were already feuding with the Q Crew alongside Johnny Perez during the Surf Slam build and pay-per-view. However, on Coast to Coast episode 23, I think it was, the first one in this build, Wasted Potential had laid out the California Dreams during the Zelquin Johnny Perez cage match. I did that because Kira Lee was touring with 5 SSW, so I did not have access to her. So I wrote them out for the first 2 editions, and then, the first tapings of Coast to Coast, and then they came back, they returned alongside Tigre Salvaje Jr., and will get a match to beat up Wasted Potential, pretty much. After that, Heartbreaker takes on Tony DeWonderful. Heartbreaker claiming that the only reason that Tony DeWonderful gets any opportunities around CZCW, the only reason he ever even got an Extreme title match was because of his looks. And if Tony DeWonderful was nearly as, this is all Heartbreakers, what he believes. If Tony DeWonderful was even half as ugly as Heartbreaker, or at least how the women see Heartbreaker, he would not get any opportunities. So he's laid him out, he's beaten his face in, and yeah, they're gonna have a match. After that, we have Air Attack Weasel teaming with California Love Machine up against Gangster Nation. Ever since Air Attack Weasel returned, he made immediate enemies with not only the Beach Boys, but Gangster Nation as a result of his actions with Rich and Famous. Gangster Nation, of course, vowed revenge on the way that Air Attack Weasel and Rich and Famous debuted in the company. However, California Love Machine straight up told Gangster Nation, after he was essentially sent away by his tag team partner, to avoid dealing with the Coastal Kings, Frankie wanting to deal with them on his own, he stood up for Air Attack Weasel, who apparently really helped really helped California Love Machine out when he was first starting. He really acted as like a sort of mentor towards California Love Machine, and CLM as a result said, if you guys go after Weasel, I don't blame you, but I'm going to back him up. And that's exactly what happened. Air Attack Weasel's like, look, when you were talking to Gangster Nation, you said we were never a tag team. Let's change that. Let's team here tonight. And they will, up against Gangster Nation. After that, we have the Extreme title up for grabs as Zell Quinn snuck his way into this match. There was a triple threat match planned between Hugh Day Ask, Johnny Perez, and Air Attack Weasel to determine the next challenger for Tigre Salvaje Jr., and somebody, we don't know who, laid out Hugh Day Ask at the beginning of that taping, and Zell Quinn convinced Sean McFly, like, look, you need a third person. I'm the best candidate. I just proved that I will hold my own in an extreme situation. And Sean McFly caved, put Zell Quinn in that match, and Zell Quinn snuck out of that match with the #1 contendership. So he will be facing Tigre Salvaje Jr. here tonight for the title. After that, we have the Beach Boys defending their titles against Rich and Famous. Rich and Famous making their return to Coastal Zone at the last pay-per-view after, I think, 3 or 4 years away from the promotion. They were working Pittsburgh Steel, and they returned by laying out both the Beach Boys and Gangster Nation, along with Air Attack Weasel. and Rich and Famous came. They said they're not wasting time. They want a title match. The Inner City Express tried to get in their way, and then Rich and Famous handled them pretty decisively. They are a very different team. They're still rich and famous, but they're also rich, famous, and business first. They are taking care of shit, and the Beach Boys say that they aren't backing down. The Beach Boys wanted this match, but they were fair men. They gave Ice a chance to get the title match, but they couldn't capitalize. So the Beach Boys, of course, looking to get revenge for how Rich and Famous re-debuted in the company. After that, we have Carlos Barrera versus Seth Whitehead. Carlos was cutting a promo saying how he proved, even though he didn't win that four-way, he proved that he belonged at the top of the card. He belongs in pay-per-view main events before being laid out by Seth Whitehead. Seth Whitehead blames Carlos Barrera. He says that Carlos stole that spot in the four-way that he deserved. Seth should have been in that match, and Carlos stole it. So he's going to get his revenge by taking out Carlos and proving that he, in fact, does not belong in the main event scene. In our semi-main, it is the grudge match between American Flash and Frankie Perez. These two went from, bitter indifference to quite violent and petty battles between the two. American Flash saying Frankie Perez has pretty much lost his way or has no moral compass, and Frankie Perez responds with a whopping, "I don't really give a fuck," to the point where he's driving his own brother away, teaming with men like Heartbreaker just to get under American Flash's skin. The relationship, the bitter indifference relationship, may be destroyed beyond repair after the actions of Frankie Perez during this build. But we will see the big blow-off between these two men. And then, of course, in our main event, Masked Cougar gets his rematch, a second chance in this save to get the Coastal Zone Championship. Much different, as I've said a million times, he is a much different man than when he faced Frankie-Boy at Revolution 2022. Very different affair this time. Frankie-Boy Fernandez sending away, after seeing what the Coastal Kings did to Aldous Blackfair, putting him out of action, setting his career back and shortening it via that pile driver off the apron. Frankie-Boy sent his own friend away. He's like, you're like a brother to me. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if someone like you got hurt. So he has been trying to fight the Coastal Kings all by himself. Carlos Barrera joining the fight, not to help Frankie, just because he wanted to, pretty much. And yeah, that's the synopsis for Masked Cougar versus Frankie-Boy, pretty much. So I think with that's every match covered in chronological order. So we're opening with the California Dreams versus Wasted Potential. Without further ado, let's get right into the pay-per-view. Alright, so we open the show with our boy, our figurehead, the king of the squared circle, Frankie-Boy Fernandez, and he starts off this promo kind of somber. He's like, look, tonight I defend my title against Masked Cougar for the second time this year. We faced off earlier, things were a lot different then. Now, Masked Cougar is being led by one of the most delusional men I've ever seen in my life. God only knows what will happen if I lose this title. The fate of CZCW's future rests in my hands tonight. And I got no fear that I'll lose. There's not a doubt in my goddamn mind that I'm leaving this building without this world title. Masked Cougar can bring every single relic he can find back from hell, and they won't be able to beat me. Nobody's taking this title from me, especially not this motherfucker. I don't care what they pulled on Coast to Coast. I don't care what they pulled a month ago. I don't care that they tried to hurt me. I'm not hurt. I'm 100%, and Masked Cougar is going down in the main event tonight. Bang! Opening the show. Firing up the crowd, kicking things off. Opening the show, however, we have the California Dreams getting their revenge on Wasted Potential after they were laid out to kick off the build to this pay-per-view. Wasted Potential come out alone. Zell Quinn is too busy focused on himself to accompany his boys during this match. and it leads to their demise. Despite the fact that the Q Crew went over on the go-home show, they start off 0-1 tonight, as after 8 minutes and 16 seconds, Kira Lee pins Onslaught with the Dream Drop. This was our Steal the Show match, and it gets a 65. However, following this match, we have Tony the Wonderful versus Heartbreaker, and even though we kicked off the show with a fiery promo from Frankie-Boy Fernandez saying, "I'm not hurt anymore," somebody is. And that somebody is Tony the Wonderful. Despite the fire that Tony has in his heart, despite the fact that people keep busting him down and he keeps coming back up, every time he comes back up, he comes back a little bit weaker. And after one too many beatdowns from both Heartbreaker, Frankie Perez, and a combination of both of them, he comes into this pay-per-view way under 100%. And Heartbreaker, the incel himself, the violent incel Heartbreaker, gets the victory tonight, beating Tony the Wonderful in 10 minutes and 15 seconds by pinfall with the Idolizer. Heartbreaker made it his mission this match to target Tony the Wonderful's handsome, beautiful, kissable face, and he ends up victorious at Battle on the Beach. Up next, we have California Love Machine teaming with Air Attack Weasel to take on Gangster Nation. California Love Machine trying to back up one of his first mentors here in CZCW. They were never a team, but now they are. And in their first team up, they are successful, as California Love Machine gets the victory after 12 minutes and 24 seconds, pinning Bullseye with the LAX departure. Great performance from California Love Machine, clearly in a league of his own amongst the rest of these guys. Gangster Nation are great, but tonight it was California Love Machine's night, and he and his first mentor, Air Attack Weasel, are victorious in this match. Up next, Tigre Salvaje Jr. is defending his Extreme Championship against a man that has absolutely no business challenging him for it. Zell Quinn snuck his way into this match after Hugh Diaz got taken out by somebody, snuck his way into the number one contenders match, snuck his way into the title match, and does not sneak out of the show with the Extreme Championship. His boys wasted potential. He didn't accompany them to the ring, and they got their asses beat, and they were not able to accompany Zell Quinn to the ring. And yeah, 70 rated match because Tigre Salvaje Jr. is great. Despite the no DQs, the Q Crew did not make it to the match, and Tigre is able to make defense number 2 of his Coastal Zone Extreme Championship. As Tigre is celebrating, he is low-blowed by Zell Quinn. Zell Quinn quickly grabs a microphone and yells at the top of his lungs into it, "Eureka! Onslaught, you two better get your asses out here right fucking now, or you're gonna have hell to pay." And within a minute, they haul their asses out. But then, out of nowhere, Hugh Diaz's music hits, and he comes with backup. He comes alongside the California Dreams. They take out the Q Crew, and Hugh Diaz says, "I don't know how nobody caught on to this, Zell. You took me out. Nobody caught you red-handed, but I'm back. Because when you take someone out, you gotta finish the fucking job. You stole this match from me, now I'm gonna steal your life from you," or whatever the fuck. You are gonna pay, essentially. Hugh Diaz is back, and, yeah. Taking out the man that snuck his way into the triangle match. What is this, fucking 5SSW? No. He snuck his way into the triple threat match, snuck his way into the title match, but Hugh Diaz has gotten his revenge after Zell Quinn and the Q Crew took him out to cost him this Extreme Championship match. Following that, it is the tag team title match, the Rich and Famous versus the Beach Boys. Rich and Famous making their return, their unexpected return to CZCW alongside Air Attack Weasel on the last pay-per-view, laying out the Beach Boys, taking out Ice in a number one contenders match to earn these tag team title shots, and they make the most of it. They make the most of it, and like I said, they returned with Air Attack Weasel, and for this tag team title match, they don't come alone, as Jackpot Jordan pins Chet Chavez after 15 minutes and 17 seconds following interference from Air Attack Weasel. Rich and Famous have won the Coastal Zone Tag Team Championships once again. They have come in, and within a month, they are once again Tag Team Champions thanks to the help of Air Attack Weasel. California Love Machine has hitched his horse onto Air Attack Weasel, and Air Attack Weasel is now out here proving everybody right. Proving everything that the Beach Boys and Gangster Nation said right. Screwing them out of the tag team titles, giving Rich and Famous their, fifth title reign? Yeah, fifth. Is that the record? That's the record. They have the record for the most title reigns. They had it, and they've extended it. 5 tag team title reigns for Rich and Famous. Up next is the match between Seth Whitehead and Carlos Barrera, and it is a fucking slugfest. What a match it is. Both men hold absolutely nothing back. Very similar fighting styles, very similar gimmicks between these two. A complete and utter brawl these two have. It goes 19 minutes and 55 seconds, but it is Seth Whitehead coming out successful. Carlos Barrera did come up short tonight. He might have proven himself in the 4-way, but he was not able to overcome Seth Whitehead tonight. 73 rated match. Pretty good chemistry. Seth's got good chemistry with a couple people, so that's actually really good to see. Up next is the semi-main, American Flash versus Frankie Perez. This relationship went from one of utter contempt towards one another to complete and utter hatred towards one another. Frankie Perez constantly dipping to new lows just to stick it to American Flash, teaming with Heartbreaker, turning his own brother against him, letting this man, American Flash, run his life, essentially, letting whatever American Flash does affect him, and it all boils over tonight in a 21-minute long match. It goes 21 minutes and 2 seconds, but Frankie Perez's obsession with American Flash does not pay him any favors, as he falls short in 21 minutes and 2 seconds with a high-velocity senton. American Flash has now beaten Frankie Perez in an 81 rated match. What a fucking match between these two. Beautiful stuff. But Frankie Perez came up short. And American Flash is celebrating, and Frankie Perez is fucking seething. And he gets up. Once he gets up, he goes right after American Flash. He tries to jump him. He gets a good hit or two in, but eventually he's too beaten down from the match tonight. American Flash is able to counter him, drop him to the ground, and he starts to pick him up, and he looks right at Frankie, and he says, "I tried to make amends, Frankie. I tried to make amends. I tried to build this bridge. But you've made me do this. Now I have to do this to you." And then he hits him with the Kevin Owens package pile driver. Right, lays him out. Settles the score, hopefully once and for all. Trying to put Frankie Perez in his place. But will Frankie Perez be able to take this and walk away? I've given American Flash the package pile driver. It's like his Uber finisher now. I want like the package pile driver to be like a move that he hits barely ever. Kind of like when Will Ospreay pulls out the Tiger Driver. Like, he only pulls it out when he feels like it's absolutely necessary. And he's pulled it out on Frankie Perez to tell him that the relationship is completely over. It's completely dismembered. but leave it alone because you lost. And now it is time for the main event. Frankie-Boy Fernandez versus Masked Cougar number 2. I had it go 23 minutes, and like I've been building this entire time, it is a completely different match than when it originally happened. When it originally happened, it was just mano a mano. Frankie-Boy versus Carlo, or Frankie-Boy versus Cougar. One-on-one, two legends of the company going at it. But this time, Masked Cougar is a completely changed man. He uses every trick in the book. He uses distracting the ref, managerial interference. He tries every single heel tactic in the book. But eventually, after one too many times, he gets caught. And Fox Mask is ejected from ringside. And Fox Mask 2 is ejected right after him. So with about 22 minutes to go, there's nobody left at ringside. However, as the referee is ejecting Fox Mask, and Fox Mask 2 is full attention on the Foxes, from backstage, Jackpot Jordan comes running in, takes down Frankie-Boy Fernandez, and dips. The tag team champion, the brand new tag team champion, comes in, screws Frankie-Boy Fernandez. Masked Cougar hits the Cougar Pounce, gets the victory in 22 minutes and 50 seconds, and steals the Coastal Zone Championship thanks to interference from Jackpot Jordan and Jake Idol. Frankie-Boy has fallen. Frankie-Boy has fallen to the Coastal Kings. But not just the Coastal Kings and Rich and Famous. And the Coastal Kings and Air Attack Weasel. And Fox Mask grabs a microphone and he says, "Did you all think this was a coincidence? Did you all think that Jackpot Jordan, Jake Idol, Air Attack Weasel, they all just came back at the same time out of nowhere? No. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a Fox Mask exclusive. I've brought back Jackpot Jordan. I brought back Jake Idol. I brought back Air Attack Weasel. These men were the biggest victims of exactly what I've been talking about. Not only were these legends of the company dismembered and disregarded and discharged from the company, they were sent packing. But I have brought them back. I've convinced Sean McFly to bring these men back, and look at what I've done already. I have restored history. I have restored the legacy of Rich and Famous, and I will restore the legacy of Air Attack Weasel. Zell Quinn has taken the Extreme title from what should be Air Attack Weasels, but we will get to that. But right now, the Coastal Kings stand tall with some more legends of the industry alongside us. And bang. That means they are expanding. It's no longer just a three-man group. No. We have Jackpot Jordan. We have Jake Idol. And we have Air Attack Weasel. Here are the new Coastal Kings. It wasn't a coincidence that they showed up at the exact same time. I didn't even know how they did in the main event. I was too excited telling the story. But Masked Cougar and Frankie-Boy Fernandez got an 82 in spite of the fact I gave them an interference finish. So really good shit from them. Really good shit from everybody on this show. Honest to God. Even Heartbreaker and Tony DeWonderful did decent for a Heartbreaker match. You know what I mean? Really, really fucking good pay-per-view. I'm really happy with it. I'm also, did you know that I'm really happy with Seth Whitehead and Chet Chavez and Kira Lee? Did you guys know that I think they're all awesome, and I'm totally not just doing that so they stop getting angry? $89,000, oh my god, $85,000 ticket sale. Oh my. Oh my. And that's another point in the Southwest. Hey, there's our Extreme Champion. But yeah, in just one night, the landscape of Coastal Zone Championship Wrestling has just been flipped on its head and then flipped again. It got flipped to the 4th dimension. It's been fucking shifted. The shift is seismic. Things are changing. The weight of the company, he wasn't fucking kidding. The weight of the company was on his shoulders, and the odds were just stacked against him. Mass Cougar now has tied the record. But yeah, essentially, we leave with a lot of questions going into the next episode. What are the Coastal Kings gonna do? What is California Love Machine gonna do now that the man that he defended has joined the group that's trying to take out his brother, or his, I don't know, like, blood brother or something? Whatever they want to call each other. Yeah. I'm sorry, we just sold $85,000 worth of tickets. That's fucking crazy. Look at that jump, 39 to 5,000. Oh my god. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this ultra shocking edition of the Push for Relevancy Coastal Zone Championship Wrestling. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I hope you all come back for episode number 20.